right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, Jared Kalmus from the Alamo Audible to get you ready for the Roadrunners and Pirates coming up this Saturday at 3:30. Jared, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Good to be back on the show. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. It is UTSA week, and man, did not know when we talked back in August, whenever, what the records would be for these teams
Yep.
when we met up, but thought it would be an important game for at least one, maybe both. Very important for the Pirates. We'll talk about the stakes on the UTSA side of things, but first of all, Jared, could you just kind of catch us up on the Roadrunners 2025 season thus far?
Oh man, it's been a roller coaster for sure. I mean, I was thinking about it this morning actually, and I'm like, this season would be seen as a complete disaster if they hadn't upset Tulane at home. That's kind of been the saving grace of the season. Outside of that, it's just been very shaky, very very shaky. They had a blowout win against Rice, but almost every game other than that, it's been in some way, shape, or form a disappointment or just hard to watch. So it's really been a struggle. The offense in particular, it's been very disappointing because they returned almost every bit of production from last year. But when you watch them play, it looks like a team that does not have a lot of snaps together. They look a little lost on the field. A lot of penalties, a lot of drop passes, miscues, missed assignments, and stuff like that. And the defense is all new. So it's been a real, I mean, it feels like a rebuilding year when it should have been a year that they could have fought, for a conference championship bid. But here we are.
Jared, in baseball, you hear splits a lot. Baseball's a big stat game,
Yeah.
so you go day, night, left, right, home, away, and saw somebody say that the splits, a Pirate fan said, the splits between UTSA at home and away make 0 sense, like night and day. Is that true, Jared? I know the long conference home winning streak and just the Roadrunners play great in that Alamo Dome.
Mhm. Yeah, it's I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it in college football, to be honest with you. They're like 22-0 in conference games at home under Jeff Traylor, and they went 2 years without a road conference win.
Wow.
It defies logic. And
Yeah.
they beat Charlotte this past week, but it was a bad game. I mean, they looked really bad. Charlotte was in that game with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, right? So I think the final score is pretty misleading of how that game actually played out. As far as an explanation, I really don't have one. I mean, you can tell even the coaching staff is at a loss to explain what is going on there. It's really really strange. I mean, they just look completely out of it on the road, like zero juice. But then when they're in the Alamo Dome, it's a totally different story. They joke that the Alamo Dome gives them like spiritual powers, like in the movie Avatar with like the home tree or whatever. It's the weirdest thing, but it's not sustainable to lose all of your road games in conference play. They've got to get that figured out next year.
Jared, you have seen, ECU is part of the one-loss club in the American right now, and you have seen so a lot of the other teams at the or near the top of the league. In your opinion, with your eye test, who is the top team in the American? Is it North Texas? Is it USF? Is it the Tulane team you beat? You'll see ECU this week. There's some other candidates out there, but who's the upper, the top tier in your opinion?
I still think it's South Florida. I mean, their talent and their depth, to me, from what I've seen, just eyeball test, is far beyond the rest of the group. I think past them, it's pretty even. I think any team could get into that second spot as far as like actual quality of the team goes. But for me, USF is really impressive, especially along the lines. I mean, they just have so much athletic ability. Some of their defensive linemen, look like they could be sprinters with how quick they are. So they're very impressive. Brian Brown, obviously, I think most of the listeners are familiar with how talented of a player he is. But honestly, I mean, I put ECU right in the mix, right below USF. I mean, I think they can go. Obviously, they beat Memphis. I think they can go toe to toe with North Texas and Tulane any day of the week.
Yeah, you saw ECU go in there a couple years ago. Pirates had one of their best offensive days of the season in that game, in which was a dreadful season. Going to look a lot different this year, obviously, with Caden Hauser a year under his belt and the way this offense is clicking right now. But I remember you kind of setting that up with the atmosphere and what it was going to be like in the Alamo Dome. So I'll ask, this late in the year, with UTSA being what they are, do you feel like that it's still going to be a big-time atmosphere coming up on Saturday? Have fans checked out? Or is it, hey, UTSA's at home, so we're going to play great, come out and see a good win on Saturday?
I wouldn't say it's going to be a big time atmosphere by any means. The fan base has certainly started to check out for sure. There are even fans that are like, they're not sure if they want to see them close out on a high note because they want to see some changes in how the program's being run. So yeah, the vibes are not great, as they say. So I don't expect a big crowd, but it's still going to be loud. I mean, the Alamo Dome is just engineered to amplify noise, right? I've been in high school playoff games that have 2,000 people in the stands, and it gets loud in there. So even though you're probably not going to see 30,000, 35,000 fans, cheering them on for bowl eligibility or anything like that, I think the noise will still be a factor, and I think they're still going to play pretty well at home, just given the comfort they have of that Alamo Dome home tree spiritual power.
You talked about changes that some folks want. I mean, are we talking headman Jeff Traylor, who at times has been the top coach in the American, the guy that if somebody was to leave to take another job, it would be him. And now it's really, what have you done for me lately? So, what's the talk about Coach Traylor there?
Well, my impression is I think most of the fan base, we'll say 90%, are still huge Jeff Taylor fans. I mean, obviously, he has done a tremendous job at building this program up and all of that. It can be a bit frustrating to hear him always be complaining about resources and NIL and now yada yada. You guys know how it goes. But the poor performances on the road have definitely gotten to the point where it's unacceptable. And they were pretty open in the offseason. Like last year was not up to our standard. We need to find a way to win on the road, and we're going to make changes to strength and conditioning, all that stuff. And they got worse on the road this year, I think. So how things go. Like usually, if the program is struggling, the head coach can fire a coordinator or two, and throw some meat to the fan base. And
right.
If you don't do that, then you're not really leading the program towards success and accepting mediocrity. So. I still think he's going to make some changes regardless of how things play out this year. He's been pretty vocally critical of his coordinators this year, which is a first. He's never really done that at UTSA. So we'll see how things play out. But I think most of the fan base, wants Jeff here, they want him to be successful. But they want to see a team that can, execute the offense and play with consistency and be the teams they're supposed to be.
All right, talking to Jared Kalmus joining us today on Pirate Radio Live. Jared, back to kind of the American real quick. So you said South Florida would be your eye test top team, but then after that, everybody's pretty even. If you send a North Texas to the college football playoff, what would that look like in your opinion? I mean, I know they can put up, 40. Would they give up 70? Right. What would that kind of look like with them or any other team really, in the college football playoff?
Well, never say never. Like Cinderella's happen in all sports for all reason. But I think for North Texas, the size, the athleticism for them is not there for me, even compared against ECU, which I think we would probably put at the lower level of that top level of AAC. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that anymore, of American Conference competitors. But I think that Eric Morris is just such a great offensive mind that he would find a way to keep that thing competitive for 3 quarters, and he would find some mismatches to take advantage of. And they do have a lot of speed. But I think in the trenches, they would really struggle. I've got a lot of respect for defensive coordinator Skylar Cassidy and what he's built. It's a huge turnaround for that defense to even just be average this year. But I just don't know if they have the dogs to keep up with a Power 4 program in a playoff game.
Jared, give us a couple players to watch on Saturday. Who are some playmakers Pirate fans need to be aware of?
Yeah, so there's actually some drama in the backfield. I think a lot of people are probably familiar with Robert Henry. He's the leading running back for UTSA. It's, really started the season out in a hot stretch. He had, I think, 3 or 4 75-plus yard touchdown runs this year. He actually got benched against Charlotte last week. He took a negative 30 rush running backwards to try to make a big play. And they put him on the bench. So, he has been a little bit slower the last couple of weeks. And then Will Henderson is a redshirt freshman, and he stepped in and he played tremendously against Charlotte. He's super explosive. He's really fast. So, I mean, I anticipate Henry will be back in the backfield and continue to be a great player for UTSA, but it is something to watch to see how that dynamic shapes out after last week.
Pirates and Roadrunners coming up. Jarrett, our producer here, will be heading to San Antonio. So, Jared, do you have any recommendations, any things he needs to check out?
Yeah, I always throw Pinkerton's Barbecue out there as the place to go. Obviously, the Mexican food in San Antonio is tremendous, but you can show up at any Mexican restaurant in San Antonio and have your mind blown. But for barbecue, I would definitely seek out Pinkerton's. Even if there's a wait, it's worth the wait. Stay in line. Obviously, the style of barbecue is very different than what you guys are used to in the Carolinas. But that Texas style is awesome. Just make sure you get your brisket fatty, and it'll melt in your mouth.
What about bars, Jared? Is there a specific bar on the Riverwalk that I should hit?
Okay, so my personal favorite is the Esquire Tavern. It's
Okay.
super cool. It's the I think longest running bar on the Riverwalk. I think, and they have this beautiful, super long wooden bar. It's dimly lit in there. It's got all the classic vibes, kind of speakeasy vibe to it, and great food, great drinks, tremendous cocktails. It stays open late as well, so that's my spot.
Very
All right.
nice.
Jared's got a big smile on his face now. Well, as we learned, Jared Kalmus UTSA is a baseball school. Any fall baseball reports? Are you following that at Alamo Audible?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we actually have a baseball specific podcast called Around the Bird Bath that the baseball fans should definitely check out. Fall ball is like it's weird. They did drop
How
one
many
Chico
new
game.
guys compared to returners for UTSA? Do you know that?
I don't know the exact breakdown, but I
Yeah.
was looking at a Baseball America write up last week, and I'm like, wow, they really retained a lot from last year.
Okay.
They did have some guys graduate, but I mean, there's a lot of names coming back from that super regional run for UTSA. And they got some recruits that it sounds like they're going to be pretty promising. I think the main issue for UTSA is you still have some question marks in the bullpen because they moved some of their top bullpen arms to be starters for this year. I think that's going to go fine. But the bullpen, there'll be some questions there. And then the middle infield is super questionable. There were I think one guy late decided to enter the draft, and they weren't expecting that. And then one of these, I think the starting second baseman had a serious injury a couple weeks ago. So they're probably going to have a true freshman at shortstop who, we'll see how that plays out. The reports have been good in the fall ball season, but I think that's going to be the weak point for this team.
And I've kind of learned since talking to you the last couple of years not to really ask about basketball. But I got to say, ECU and UTSA this year on the hardwood could be very, I don't know what word to use, interesting.
Sure. On the basketball side, they've clearly upgraded the talent there. Like eyeball test again, it's a different group of guys, right? They have some power forward transfers in. They got some guys that played internationally that are really solid, but they're not clicking together just yet. They did win at Denver, which I know it's not a basketball powerhouse, but for a program history like UTSA, those are key wins for the background there.
No doubt.
So we'll see if they can put it together.
Jared, always enjoy it, man. Looking forward to the Pirates and the Roadrunners. ECU playing for a lot right now, still trying to get to that conference championship. Also trying to end a very long streak in the Alamo Dome this week of wins for the UTSA Roadrunners. So should be a good one, man. Looking forward to it. Appreciate you joining us, as always.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you, guys.